Hey everybody, I'm back again with another little tutorial of sorts, I guess. Just to kind of show you what you can do as I'm learning these two new programs from Affinity. They're not really new, but they're new to me because I really haven't touched them that much. As you notice, I'm starting to get a lot into Designer and I'm starting to get some in the Photo. I am finding some things in Photo that I feel are missing, but maybe later, once I have a good evaluation and learn it a little bit better, I can, maybe get a little bit further on down the line about it. But let's go ahead and hit with this tutorial. Yes, I know you guys are probably tired of seeing retro vehicles, retro themes, and everything else, but some people are actually into this kind of thing. Unfortunately, I'm one of them. And this whole tutorial is to show you how you can take a design that you can design from, in this case, Affinity Designer, put it in a photo, and make a photo composition of it on a vehicle. In this instance, or it could be a sign, it could be anywhere. On this vehicle here, let's take a look. Whoop, there we go. As you see, I got this fictional farm name on the side of this truck. It looks like it's been all beat up and worn out and patinaed. And it's on the side of the truck. It's barely noticeable, and sometimes that's what you want, sometimes that's not. In this case, for this particular composite, that's what I wanted. I wanted it to look like it was part of the truck. Maybe the farmer bought the truck when it was new and had the thing hand painted right before it was put to work on his farm. So that's what I did. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this and show you how I quickly did this. So let's go ahead. Whoop. Sorry about that. Me and the Magic Mouse are still getting used to each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two here and trash them. So we start from the beginning. Okay, I just got this image off of Google. Again, it's not my personal image. I'm not keeping it. The one thing I did do with this image, because it was so resolution, I did upscale it. So at least when I put my design on, it didn't pixel it all to fire. Because unfortunately, Affinity Photo does not understand the ability of smart objects, kind of like Photoshop does. So when you bring your design in, which I will do in just a few minutes, that was designed in this case Affinity Designer. When you bring it in and you go to put it on the truck through a feature on here, which I will also demonstrate, you have to change it to a pixel layer. It can no longer be a embedded document. That's as far as it goes. If you go anything past the embedded document where you got to transform it, anything just basic transforms, it must be converted, otherwise you just can't do it. Matter of fact, the program will pop up a thing called Assistant and let you know that. So the way you bring in a document into a current document is if you go under the File menu and you go down to Place. Place is where you can do things like that. So I'm going to say Place, and on my desktop here I got this, which is a file I did create in Designer. And next thing you notice, I'll kind of wiggle my pointer here, is that the cursor changes to a placing arrow. You can either click to place it full screen and then bring it down, but in this case my target area is this truck door, so I'm just going to kind of drag out the size of this logo where I think as big as I think it's going to need to be, and then I'll let go, and then it brings a bounding box around it. Now if we zoom in, see, there's my logo. Yes, it's not the best looking logo. It's something I quickly just made up real quick just so I can show you this technique. Now if this truck wasn't so weather beaten and worn, if you wanted to make it look like it was part of the vehicle, if you're interested in that, in other words, put the gloss back over it and everything else, I'll try to do another tutorial where I actually show you a cool little trick that you can maybe put the shine over your design. But in this case here, the truck is matted because of it being out in the weather, so we don't need to worry about that step. I actually need to shrink this just a touch, because the next thing we need to do is bend it a little bit. Okay, that looks good enough. Now what I'm going to do is over here is, whoops, I don't need to rename it. I guess I could just name it Sign. Now just in case you guys want to try it again, I would recommend just duplicating that, which is a Command J or Control J in Windows, and that will duplicate the layer. Now, over here on the toolbox, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not. Normally this is on the mesh warp tool, which would be a nice thing to have happen. See, it already converted it because it thought I wanted that. Let's just undo that, because I didn't want, well, it's already done, so. But anyways, as you saw, it just converted that from an embedded document, if you look over here, from an embedded document to a pixel document, because these tools, Mesh Warp and Perspective Tool, do not work on an embedded document. It has to convert it to a pixel. So I'm going to go to Perspective, which is what I want, because I want to put it on the door. I just leave these things as default, and I'm just going to grab these nodes, and I'm going to use the body lines of the truck on the door as my guide, where it needs to be. Just a little bigger maybe, and be okay here. And I'm kind of trying to go as parallel to this as I can. Alright, it looks kind of funky because I have this other one turned on, but see, there we go. Now it's pretty much in perspective. So if we zoom out, we click off the layers here, we'll just click here and see, now it's on there. But see, now if this is an older truck that you're trying to maybe put fresh stuff on, that might be okay. But in my case, I'm trying to make it look like it's been beaten into the truck. So in my case, what I'll need to do is take that newly transformed layer, zoom in on it, okay, and I want to change the blend mode here. Soft light is what I need here, because I want it to look like it faded with the truck. So, and that did a pretty good job in this case of doing it, but experiment with the blend modes to see what will happen. Now, to give it the coup de grace, I guess what one would say with this, because if you notice, if I zoom in a little bit more, there's different colors and different shades in this paint from where it patinaed differently. So what we will need to do is kind of fade this to go along with. Now, if you want to take your time and kind of create the mask from the truck, you can, and that'd probably be the best. But I'm just going to do it real quick, clicking and putting the mask on here, finding my brush here, my brush tool, make sure the foreground color is black. I'm going to go over here to this panel, go down to my textures. You could choose any texture that you want. I think I chose for the one that you saw on the screen earlier. I believe it was that one, Grunge 9. And as you can tell when you hover over, that it gives you a preview. What you can do is kind of click on it a little bit. You know, kind of line up and click. I actually went a lot smaller with my brush and took a lot more time than I am on this tutorial, but you guys get the idea. Now when I zoom back out, let's go ahead and click on the arrow tool and zoom out. Now if we deselect everything, or there we go, it looks like it's now part of the truck. It looks like it's always been with the truck since it was new. So that's just a quick way inside Affinity Photo to get a design you may have created inside of, in this case, Affinity Designer, onto something and make it look like it might have been part of the vehicle or sign or building from way back when. That's the whole idea of this. Yeah, there's applications you can do this for, but I found this to be kind of neat. I figured this out while playing around with it late yesterday. I figure I'll make a quick video on it. Hopefully you guys will find this little quick tutorial interesting, and you can use it in your own projects, especially if you're doing vintage mock-ups. And I appreciate you guys taking a look, and I'll see you next time.